Hey, what's up everyone? This is Snackbox. Hope you all are having an amazing day. Guys, in today's video, I'm going to show you how you can solo the Dragon Hard 10 with Ezio, a free login champion. Now, for stage 10, you need to hit certain HP, defense, accuracy, resistance thresholds. Obviously, you need to have good gear, but you know, all of this will be easier to achieve once you get the 5-star soul. Right now, people are collecting the 4-star soul. I have a 2-star soul only, and it still works, okay? It still works with a 2-star, so that means I don't get the extra defense from the 3-star, from the third awakening level, and then on 5-star you also get additional accuracy and resistance, which makes it a lot easier to come up with a build to run this stage. Now, obviously, not everyone can do this, you know, especially early game players. They will probably, you know, hit stage 20 on normal, which is fine as well, right? You can also apply the same strategy on stage 20 that I'm doing right here. And why is this working? Basically because Ezio is a poison activation champion, right? This is a common strategy. You put regen gear and like tanky gear on your champion, which then kills the enemy slowly with poisons and poison activation. Also, maybe you noticed I gave my Ezio Brimstone, which speeds the whole thing up and makes the run a little bit faster. Now, with a 2-star soul, the Brimstone is not very consistent. You know, every now and then I'm placing it, but with a higher soul, I would definitely place it more often. Also, Ezio has a passive which has damage mitigation and makes sure he can survive. So as you can see, 2 minutes and 11 seconds. I think I had a run below 2 minutes. That can happen as well. Depends on RNG and maybe some cooldown reduction effects. But yeah, why is this good right now? Why do you want to solo the Dragon with Ezio right now? There are a couple of tournaments at the same time at the moment. So for one, we have the Dragon Tournament, right? It's a Sacred Order only Dragon Tournament. And that's where Ezio comes into play. He's from the Sacred Order. We can get a free Prism Crystal here, free Prism Summon, and we also have a summoning pool for another Assassin, okay? And also you have 50 Eagle Points in here. And just in general, farming Dragon right now is a good thing to do because we have the free X speed event as well. So all the events and tournaments and everything lines up perfectly to, you know, invest some energy into the Dragon and farm it solo with Ezio if you can hit the stats and the gear requirements. Now, on top of that, there will be also a Deck of Fate from tomorrow where you can get points for by, you know, farming dungeons. It's basically a soul rush plus a gear hunters event. That's how you get points for this deck. And, you know, you can farm the Dragon solo, get points for the Dragon Tournament, get the free Prism Summon, get points for champion training, okay, for the champion training tournament, get points for the Deck of Fate as well, and you get a lot of speed artifacts because we have the free X speed event. So, you know, perfect timing to farm the Dragon with Ezio, okay? And that's what we're gonna do. So let's do this one more time so you can actually see that it really works. The only thing you have to keep in mind though when you're soloing for this Dragon Tournament, put in Sacred Order food champions as well. Otherwise you won't get points for the Dragon Tournament. It's a Sacred Order only Dragon Tournament, right? So that's kind of like the only thing you have to keep in mind. And we're going to talk about the gear and everything in a second. There are a couple of things I definitely need to mention that are important. And yeah, but as you can see, absolutely no problem. Maybe you already saw we have the golden elixir on him, so he heals up every time he drops below 50% HP, and that helps a lot. And then he has a regen set, and also another very interesting damage mitigation set, which I like to use for soloing stuff. But yeah, he definitely needs to be booked. I tried it without books, and sometimes it worked. Sometimes it worked, but, you know, it wasn't consistent enough. You know, it failed a couple of times, and then I decided to invest some books into Ezio and, you know, just make sure this is a 100% win rate. And so far, I did like 10, 15 runs, and it didn't fail. Not even close. So I'm pretty confident that, you know, this will be a 100% win rate and this can't fail. Now, you have to keep in mind that I have a 2-star soul only, so it was a little bit harder for me to reach the HP and so on to survive the dragon's attacks. Also, well, maybe you saw it, the cool thing about Ezio here is that he steals the increased attack. Right there, you can see it. He steals the increased attack from the dragon, which makes sure that he doesn't get, you know, too much damage on us. So that is really important. But what I was about to say is with a 2-star soul, I only get 5% damage reduction on this passive on the dragon. So if you have a 4-star soul already, which is, I think, the highest soul we can have right now, unless you pulled something from a soulstone from the daily login, then you will have a 15% damage reduction. Okay, 15% damage reduction is much more than 5%. Okay, so you will probably have an easier life here running this stage if you have the gear, okay, because of that 4-star soul. And then with a 5-star soul, it will be absolutely no problem. All right, then you will have 20% damage reduction, and also you will have the, you know, extra defense and accuracy and resistance and so on, and your Ezio will just have a lot more stats to start from. Okay, but in case, I'm going to show you the build right now in a second, in case you can't hit any of these stats, you can chuck in a support champion. Okay, you can chuck in a support champion from the Sacred Order faction, or if you want to run this outside of a Sacred Order only dragon tournament, you can also use any support champion. But for this tournament, we got to use a Sacred Order support. For example, a Lady Noelle. Lady Noelle would work, or a Neri, okay, like a tanky a Neri in region, you know, with the heals, can keep your Ezio alive, for example. There are many options. Cardinal, Cardiel, sounds kind of like the same. And yeah, I also tried, you know, Lady Noelle plus Sir Nicholas, which also works. Okay, that works as well. They are a very strong pair together. Yeah, if you can't hit the stats, maybe pair Lady Noelle with Sir Nicholas and Ezio. You can also run a trio, that works as well. Okay, but just keep in mind, for this tournament, we have to use Sacred Order champions. All right, now let's talk about the build of Ezio. So we can go over the stats. Also, I have a lot of area bonuses which help a lot to reach the stats. So I have 88k HP, 3.7k defense, 300 speed with the speed bonus, 487 resistance, and 360 accuracy. So this is kind of like where you want to be at when you run hard 10 dungeons and you want to resist stuff. You gotta have like 450 resistance plus. Now, if you have the area bonuses maxed out, you only need like 370, right? Plus the area bonus, then you hit 450. And for the accuracy, it's just 100 less. Okay, so 270 accuracy with 80 accuracy from the area bonus, you will hit like 350. All right. So now without the area bonuses, this is where I'm at. Okay, a little bit more resistance that I, you know, actually need, even though you don't reach the full 97% with just 450 resistance. Then you would need like another 60, 70, 80 resistance or whatever to hit the full 97. With 450, it should be like 96% to resist debuffs, but you will always have that 3% chance that debuffs won't get resisted or the enemy resists your debuff. So there's always that, you know, small 3% chance. But anyway, with the area bonuses, this is what my Ezio looks like. Okay, I have him in a region set and a defiance set. Okay, the region set is there to heal him up. This is very important, so he doesn't die, right? And then we have the defiance set, which gives us another 15% damage mitigation from enemy AoE attacks. And the dragon does only AoE attacks, no single target attacks, only AoE attacks. And every single attack from him will deal 15% less damage. So absolutely amazing. Then I have one protection piece for additional resistance, one stone skin piece for additional HP, and one feral banner for additional accuracy. Okay, And this, this looks pretty funny. I have like 5 different sets on this guy, and this is just what I had to do. But you don't have to use all these other sets. Maybe with a 4-star soul, you get the additional defense, you get another 1000 HP. So this definitely helps, to build enough tankiness on Ezio. So I have the golden elixir on him, a 4-star. So he heals for 16% every time he drops below 50% HP. This keeps him alive, okay? Without that, he would just die. Then I have this gemstone on him, but this is not super necessary. There are other options you can put in here, but I think this is pretty good because every time his HP drops below 50%, he will get healed by the elixir, and then he will also get 10% turn meter and take a turn again and then heal with the regen set and so on. So this is a very nice synergy with the with this relic. And then I also have 5% less damage from bosses, which helps on the dragon. So now we have, 5% from the soul, 5% from this gemstone, that's 10, and then another 15% from the Defiance set, so 25% damage mitigation. Like I said, if you have a 4-star soul, you will get another 10%, and then it should be a lot easier. He's completely booked. I have the Brimstone Blessing, as you already saw. I don't think you need to completely book him. The A1 at least doesn't really need to be booked, but the A2 and A3 definitely help. The A2 is his main damage source, is the poisons, right? The poison activation, that's how he kills stuff. And then the A3, that's where he steals the increased attack, which helps a lot, as you saw. And this can, also make sure, or maybe be the reason why you will survive the boss fight, okay? And here are the masteries. I went with the defense tree to get more resistance in, a little bit more heal, a little bit more damage mitigation. So that's another 5% damage mitigation from AoE attacks, okay? On top of what we already calculated, then we have the chance to remove a debuff in case, we get the 3%. And then for the waves, I actually got Bloodthirst. So every time he kills an enemy target, he will heal by 10%. This also helps. And then here you have 6% damage mitigation again and a counterattack chance, which is not super important, but he also has the counterattack on the passive, right? Like 35% chance to counterattack, and that helps with the decreased defense. I don't know if he actually speeds it up because of that. Maybe this, slows it down. I'm not quite sure. But anyway, I went with additional accuracy, turn meter boost when debuffs are removed or expired, Lore of Steel to get more stats in, Cycle of Magic to eventually get a cooldown reduction on his A2, and then, here extending the duration of any debuffs, getting more speed from Spirit Haste for each dead ally since we are trying to solo, and then also Oppressor, we can place Brimstone, decrease defense, and then also 2 poisons and poison sensitivity, so that's 5 debuffs where we will get 10% turn meter, a turn meter fill rate. Okay, the turn meter fill rate will be improved by 10%, so he takes more turns, heals up again, uses his skill more often, and so on. And yeah, now in general you don't really have to run Oppressor. It's not super necessary. It just speeds it up. If you can't hit the accuracy or resistance stats, you can also go with Unshakable or Eagle Eye instead. Okay. All right, let's run this one more time just to make sure it doesn't fail. I'm gonna run it a couple more times tomorrow, maybe like 100, 200 times tomorrow, and then I will see if it fails or not. But I don't think so. I really don't think so, even though those crits are very scary. Those crits can be really scary. If he gets critted like 3 or 4 times in a row, he can get low, but he will heal up eventually. So yeah, if you can't hit the stats for hard dungeons or hard 10 or whatever stage you're trying to run, for stage 20 you need 300 resistance in total and 225 accuracy minimum, and maybe like 250, 240 speed and a good amount of HP and defense. Not as much as I have here because the mobs don't hit that hard, but you can definitely apply this strategy on stage 20 as well. And like I said, if you don't have a good region set or whatever, just chuck in a good, support champion, but make sure it's, one from the Sacred Order faction for this tournament. But if you're trying to run this outside of this Sacred Order only tournament, you can use whatever support and just, you know, use a champion that provides a little bit more heal and survivability. So yeah, this run seems to be pretty fast actually, or faster than the others, or is it slower? No, it looks a little bit slower. So yeah, this can happen as well. I don't know why that is, but you know, it's not always the same time. I guess it depends on the brimstone procs, the poisons, how often does he counterattack. That also costs time, right? He's not really doing damage when he counterattacks. It's mostly the poisons and the brimstone where he deals damage with. That's kind of like the thing. But yeah, I had a run with like 1 minute and 59. I think I got some, you know, skill cooldown reduction procs from his masteries. And this is, I think, the longest run I ever had, 2 minutes and 26. So this is something you can work towards, right? If you're a newer player, start with stage 20, improve his gear, get his stats up, maybe the area bonuses as well. I'm going to show you my area bonuses real quick because I do have, you know, I do have it pretty much maxed out. So here are the Dragon Slayer area bonuses. Everything is maxed except attack and HP. I don't know if I'm going to max that, but, you know, it works the way it is right now. But in general, the accuracy that I have here, okay, from the area bonuses, you will get with a 5-star blessing, for example, and the resistance as well. Okay, so I guess you can get the stats from somewhere else as well. But yeah, we can also speed this a little bit up if you don't want to run this solo. You know, if you have a SIEGFRUND, just chuck him in there and this will be a lot faster. Mine is not booked, okay? Mine is not booked and completely built. Like, some of his skills are, some are not. And yeah, he's not really dealing damage at the moment. He still needs to be glyphed and his gear needs to be ascended and so on. So, you know, he's not really maxed out yet, but he can definitely speed the whole run up. And yeah, he's just not dying, okay? He cannot die here. That's the cool thing about it. And yeah, as you can see, we're already done with the first wave. If I would have maxed out his build, he would probably just one-shot the first wave. But yeah, the way he is built now, he can't at the moment. But that's okay. That's totally fine. All I want him to do basically is kill the waves faster and then maybe deal some more damage on the boss. And that way, you know, we can speed things up. Also, another cool thing is that he can transfer the debuffs onto the dragon. So if the dragon places poisons or decrease attack on SIEGFRUND, he can place it on the dragon, and then Ezio can activate those poisons. As you can see here, he transferred all the poisons now. Ezio will activate them and boom, you know, 1 minute and 20. And if my SIEGFRUND was, you know, completely built, he would just one-shot the waves and then this would be like a, you know, like a minute or something. But yeah, just wanted to show you this little option. If you have SIEGFRUND, you can chuck him in there, let him deal with the waves and, you know, transfer some debuffs on the boss and it will speed things up. But yeah, guys, that's been pretty much it for this video. I'm really surprised that Ezio can do this. And I think it's absolutely amazing since he's a daily login champion. You also will get the 5-star soul for free just by logging in. And all you have to do, you know, is farm the gear, grind the gear, get some good gear from Fire Knight, good region set. You don't necessarily need the Defiance set once you have, you know, higher soul, but it definitely makes it easier to survive the dragon attacks. I hope this helps you to farm the dragon for this tournament. You know, maybe you have a goal you can work towards. And with that being said, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you enjoyed, please hit the like button. It really goes a long way. Also, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more raid content. The YouTube algorithm is going to suggest you a video that you might like right here. And see you in the next one.